Are our kids lazy, or are they actually having what I would call a brain cramp? I actually just got off the phone with a friend of mine, and we were talking about parenting her 12-year-old daughter and my friend's frustrations regarding organization, right? Organization and planning, and how she was always taught to be extremely organized and keep things just so, and that leads to the imprint of the belief that that leads to like success, right? Which, hey, you know what? Flow, having space, having a sense of organization, definitely, we know, absolutely creates flow. However, the age that we're talking about, which is 12 in this particular case, but honestly, anywhere from like 10 till I would say 15, uh, we have expectations that our children are just supposed to know how to be organized, or they should have learned it by now, that it is common sense, right? You know, to put your papers nicely in a folder and then put it in your backpack or clip it in your binder, or whatever that is, you know, not leave apple cores in your backpack to rot. While those seem like they should be common sense, at that age, actually, it's not yet, right? And there's a few reasons why. One is our brains have not developed fully. That's the executive functioning part of our brain. And it takes until about 25 years old for our executive functioning to actually develop, and beyond, to be honest, they found out. So the purpose of the executive functioning part of our brain is the rational mind, organized, showing of empathy. There's several sort of beautiful things that come from a highly developed executive functioning part of the brain, the frontal lobe. But like I said, until they get to be a bit older, this hasn't necessarily fired. And those neurons have not necessarily made their way across the brain so that they've been imprinted as a truth. So that's how we want them to learn. We want them to ultimately imprint whatever we're trying to guide them to become as a long-term memory, sort of neural firing, right? So when that starts occurring regularly, then the executive functioning part of the brain starts to enhance. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some kids who quite young are super organized. My daughter Talina was like that, and actually she wrote a book on it, Path to Productivity. But not every child is like that. Now, that was Talina's strength. She had other areas that we needed to enhance for her and help and guide her on, right? So everybody has their natural ability, and I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I'm going to emphasize it again because it's so important. Everybody has their natural sort of ability, and then there's an area that needs strengthening, right? So if we're getting frustrated with our child, then we are actually hindering their development of that neural pathway. So every time we are telling them, oh my God, can you just organize your bag? I told you to lay the papers out and put them in nicely and then bring them home. How is that so difficult? Right? You know, it seems insane to us, right? You know, and I get that. Like, I've been there too. So it is very frustrating for the parent to be watching this happen, especially when we've told them. If you go back to my video, YouTube video that I posted before called well, 1,000 times. I have why do I have to tell you 1,000 times? You'll get another sort of angle to this, but it's important to watch that as well because it'll give you a reinforcement of what I'm talking about today. So the question is, are they actually being lazy? Because that's what a lot of people think. They're just being lazy. They don't want to do it. And you're right, they don't. For some people, being organized, for example, is just not that important, right? They can't see the long-term benefits of it, especially at 12 years old, right? You know, so what we want to be doing is being conscious that, are they being lazy because they have done it before? Or are they actually kind of having a brain cramp and it's really hard to get started on that task, right? So typically it's a brain cramp, right? And let's try to view it like that, right? Giving them the benefit of the doubt as well. Like, let's try and see that this could be a brain cramp for this kid, even though I've literally told them 1,000 times, and I don't really understand how it could still be a brain cramp. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and recognize that it is likely, because when we've told them in the past, we've been yelling at them. And when we yell at them, it's like, okay, get it done, get it done, get it done. They might do it out of fear, but nothing is getting wired in the brain as an actual habit, okay, when it's done that way. So give yourself a moment and think back. There's a good chance that you probably did deliver it, in a frustrated way, again, which I get. It's just that I'm explaining that that's not going to be helpful, right? So our children have different developmental stages, and I'm just going to read a quick excerpt from my book, Too Tired to Parent, Take the C.A.R, which is on Amazon. And it's on page 36, and it's just on ages 10 to 13. I'm just going to read you a clip about that. So it says that moral development begins. At this age, morality is very black and white, right or wrong. It's very difficult for children to see that there may be a gray zone or alternative possibilities. They can appear rigid or stubborn in their thinking and understanding of problems and concepts, but it's less about being difficult and more about the developmental limitations at this age. Many of us are criticized by our parents at this age for being stubborn. Ironically, this type of labeling contributes to slowing or sometimes stalling the full development of the conceptual neural pathways necessary to become flexible in our thinking. So we really want to allow our children to be flexible in their thinking. And the only way to start doing that at this age is not to believe that they should know something by now. If they don't, then let's guide them, right? Let's be clear. And that, my friends, takes a lot of patience, right? So here's a trick that I'm going to teach you right now on whether or not you're going to be able to handle doing this. If you say, I need you to clean up your backpack or organize your room or help me with X, I need you to, that's going to come out of desperation. Now, if you can say, hey, I really want you to learn how to get organized because it's going to help you in the future, then that's a different energy. So if it's an I need you to, if you feel yourself saying, oh my, I just need her or him to do this or them to do this, right? Then what we're doing is coming out of desperation, which means, yes, self-care. It means the self-care tank is low. So please, before you start to even try to guide or teach them or do anything, let's go back to filling our self-care tank, doing what I need to do, whether it's a meditation, whether it's, breath work, whether it's going to exercise, have some fun, doing something that lights you up, so you feel grounded and present. And when you shift into, hey, you know what, I really want my child to learn this because it makes sense, you'll be able to then tackle it in a way that works for both of you, right? So there will be no commentary. It's like, I'm disappointed in you, or what's wrong with you, or how could you not know this? It will instead be, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's not happening yet. Let's work on this together. So I hope you found that helpful. And I will continue to post on this because it's such an important area. But just remind yourself that if you are in a state of, I need my child to do this, then you are depleted. Take a pause, make it all about you, because when you're full, your children will be full. And when you're well, your children will be well. So thank you so much. Have a great day.